Hello everyone, and thanks so much for joining me. Now in this series of lessons that we're going to be running here, I'm going to cover the paper 3, China and the Global Economy research theme. It's a very popular research theme, and for good reason. There's so much going on, there's a lot of change taking place, and it's highly contentious, so it makes a great essay topic. It's certainly one of my favourite areas to teach on. Okay, so let's get started with what we're going to do in this first lesson. So here we're going to start on just understanding where China has come from, and ultimately how this information of where they've come from helps inform us of the sort of decisions that they're likely to make in the future. Okay, so we can see that China are regarded as an economy in transition. This simply moves that they're moving from a command-orientated system to a more mixed-orientated economy, allowing a role for private sector and enterprise and the market to allocate resources, as well as having a state which plays quite a heavy hand in China's role as well. Now the reforms began in 1978 under Deng Xiaoping, and he famously was quoted as saying it doesn't matter whether the cat is black or whether the cat is white, as long as it catches mice. And that was largely understood to mean that it doesn't matter whether China is communist or whether it is capitalist, as long as the economy functions and performs well. Now, it's 40 years ago that these reforms began, and they have done so under a gradualist approach. So this gradual approach has been very cautionary. It's been a very slow undertaking and very deliberate in the way in which reforms are carried out. Now, this is in stark contrast to the shock therapy or Big Bang liberalisation that was used in Eastern Europe and some of the former USSR states. So examples here could include the likes of Russia and perhaps more successfully Poland, where price controls and currency controls were liberated overnight, transforming a command economy into a market-based system immediately. So in contrast, we see a gradualist approach, a very slow process, a very cautionary approach. Now, what's really important about this is how this gradualist approach is likely to inform China's decisions and reforms as it continues to develop. Okay, so that's a useful point that we will be referring back to later on in our series of lessons. Right, moving on from there, we can see that it's got a communist party which remains the sole governing party. So it is a one-party state. Now that means they are the all-powerful state, and there is no form of democracy there, so to speak. Now this also means that the huge power of the state means that there is a widespread level of state intervention, and it looks as though that is likely to continue. Now this then leads us on, these 2 points here lead us on to the fact that when you have a one-party state and who's heavily involved in the way things are conducted throughout an economy, it means that they want to make themselves look good. So how do they do this? Well, they've got a Publicity Bureau, also known as a Ministry of Propaganda. Okay, so this Publicity Bureau, their role is to communicate the Communist Party's will and express all of the good work that the Communist Party has been doing. Now, if we add into that mix as well, the fact that we've got a one-party state means that they don't want to have all their questions interrogated and be held to account for everything. So there is no free press. There is no free press in China. Now these points together mean that economic data is often a little bit dubious when it comes out of China, and it's not believed by all analysts. So that's an excellent point of analysis that we will refer back to in subsequent lessons. Okay, final point as we move forward into this series of lessons is just to bear in mind that it is highly unlikely that China will westernize as they continue to develop. So if we look at instances of, say for instance, South Korea, as they became wealthier, they became more westernized. This is unlikely to be the case in China because of the historic cultural reasons that they have there, and is again something else we'll consider in subsequent lessons. Right, so that gets us kicked off. Look forward to seeing you on our next lesson. Thanks ever so much.